This
I'm going to go ahead and
conference
call the
will
meeting to
now be
order, please.
recorded.
All those that can stand, please let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, I'll do the roll call.
Marie Beshan, Board President.
Here.
Roberta Ernest, Vice President.
Here.
Marilyn Sorensen, Secretary.
Here.
Becca Paulson, Treasurer.
Here.
Directors Steve Deal,
Here.
Jennifer Ellswick,
Here.
and Cindy Evans.
Here.
Thank you. Homeowner statement period. In person, speaker may speak for no more than 2 minutes. If attending virtually, please mute your audio. Please use the chat option for your questions. Comments should be addressed to concerns of the motion before the board takes formal action on an item under formal discussion on the table. Negative comments directed at residents, employees of the association, or board of directors will not be allowed. Robert's Rules of Order. Steps in handling a motion. Step 1, making a motion. Step 2, having someone second the motion. Step 3, stating the motion. Step 4, debating the motion. And step 5, putting the motion to a vote. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion regarding the minutes of the last meeting, please? Whoops.
I move to approve the minutes from the November 14th, 2024 Board of Directors meeting.
I second.
Okay. Any comments or questions regarding the minutes? I'm sorry. Any comments or questions regarding the last board meeting minutes? All right. Hearing none. Any comments or questions regarding the minutes from the floor? Yes. Oh, okay. He's over there. All right. The motion approved. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got distracted there. All those in favor? Motion carried. Sorry. I got distracted there. Sorry. Where am I? Okay. Financial report. Becca, do we have Don?
All right. I think I move to accept the October 31, 2024 financials. I'm also going to give the financial report today because Don's not here.
Okay. All right. Discussion, you want to give the financial report first? Yeah.
Okay. Operating has had $944,651. Reserve $3,845. Excuse me, let me start again. $3,845,041. Activities $282,854. Clubs $155,775. Asset improvement $1,170,899.
Okay. Do I have a second on that? I did. Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Any other further discussions on the questions on this from the board? Any questions or comments from the floor? Okay. Brad?
Balance sheet and an income statement on a monthly basis. Isn't that posted out on the once it's approved?
Once the financial statements are approved by the board, they are posted on Neighbor.
But you don't include them here in the meeting to be approved, the financial statement as far as a balance sheet and an income statement.
Yes, once they're approved, it is out on Neighbor. This will be posted in the next few days.
I think there was one more question. Is that it? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, old business. Jennifer, do we have a motion to,
Excuse me just a moment. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Committee reports, I believe Bill Powell wanted to give a short report. Is that correct, Bill? Are you still wanting to do so? Sorry, it's not on the agenda because I didn't know until
I
after.
have this agenda. I agree, but I was just following this other one. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Bill, you want to come up for?
The Finance Committee had two notable items in our meeting.
Sorry.
One, you will have a motion a little later from now on motion, and the other is a recommendation we have for the board or whatever committee is working on club funding. What we recommend is when considering where funds come from the resorts portion of club funding, which should be about 50% of a club's request, we suggest that the funding come from the interest earned on the asset improvement fund from the previous year. There's some things in that. One is the asset improvement fund is probably the best match for the kind of things we ask. There may be something coming out of reserve depending on a given item, but the majority will probably come out of asset improvement. This fund does not impact the homeowners' share because it's paid by new people, so it's not there. By suggesting we use last year's interest number, we know what the number is going into the year. If we say we're going to use the interest, we don't know at the time of the budgeting what it'll be for another 8, 9, 10 months. So we suggest that. Since we don't know what the amount that the club funds are going to request, that's a brand new thing. We just know that this is a significantly large amount of money, somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000, maybe as much as $50,000, depending on interest earned and such. It is a starting point. It may be that we'll have to add to this another component to it at a later date, but as this program goes on and we match funds, it'll be part of that. Whether we actually ever truly separate the interest money and put in a pool, or whether Dawn just keeps track on a list, that's a detail we work out at a later date. But when you're looking at club funding, we recommend you use the interest money from the asset improvement fund as kind of the roundhouse starting number.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
But is Sue gonna? Communications, Sue, do you want to step up?
Sue Deal, 1578. I'm the chair of the Communications Committee. And this is just then move up here where you can, my dear. I just want to reiterate.
As they say, hold the mic closer to your mouth.
Here it is, dear. This is what you get.
Okay. Okay. Old business. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. BGM.
I move to approve Steve Fothering as a member of the BGM committee.
Second.
Any comments or questions regarding that? Yes, okay. All those in favor? Motion carried. Welcome, Steve. Okay. Any other further clubs or committees? We're good.
Marie,
Yes.
we have a question back here. Are you able to take that?
Oh,
I raised my hand earlier
is
when.
it regarding any of this club that we're on
Yes.
right now?
Yes, it is. It was when Bill Powell spoke and he spoke about using interest earned for the past year for
Okay.
the clubs. I was curious if that's net interest after taxes paid or gross interest earned. Because our interest earned is going to be 30, 40,000, he said, possibly, and we do have taxes on interest earned.
Doesn't know.
That is true. We have to pay taxes on the interest we earn each year.
So I just don't want to have a higher number when there's actually taxes paid on that and have the taxes go into a different category. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on.
This was just a recommendation. There is no action on it as of yet.
No. Okay. All right. We're untabling the motion regarding the Board of Resolution.
Yeah, I move to approve untabling the previous motion to approve the board resolution on election policy.
Second.
All those, yeah. No, any questions or comments?
Okay, so that was the resolution that was given to us by Curtis last month that threw us all kind of for a loop. That had to do with the board policy on candidates or election process. So I'm assuming I'm going to go ahead and read this. So it is lengthy, bear with me. Board of Directors of Happy Trails Community Association, otherwise known as the association, hereby adopts the following election policy, known as policy. This policy supersedes and replaces all previous policies. This policy is for the election process of board candidates. While the board intends to follow the procedure below, the board reserves the right in its sole and absolute discretion to vary from this procedure due to unique circumstances. So this has been modified to fit with Happy Trails. Number one, call for candidates. A call for candidates may be published on the community website or included in email communications. A call for candidates may be sent out not more than 85 days prior or fewer than 45 days prior to the annual meeting date. Candidates must submit their completed application by the deadline as indicated on the application. Number two, record date. The board sets the record date for determining members entitled to notice as 4 p.m. Arizona time on the day before the notice is sent or posted, and the record date for determining members entitled to vote as 4 p.m. Arizona time on the day before the start of the electronic voting timeframe. Number three, application collection and review. The management team, known as management, will be responsible for the collection of all candidate applications. Each candidate application will be reviewed by management for eligibility. The board may elect to have a previous board director, currently not serving on the board, to assist management with the vetting of applications and the election process. Number four, suspension of right to run for the board. The board may suspend an owner's right to run for the board during any time in which any assessment remains unpaid and delinquent. If an owner is delinquent as of 4 p.m. Arizona time on the day before the notice for the election is sent out, the owner will not be allowed to run for the board. The board will not suspend an owner's rights to run for the board for any other reason. Suspension of voting rights. The board may suspend an owner's right to vote during any time in which any assessment remains unpaid and delinquent. If an owner is delinquent during the 2-week electronic voting timeframe, the owner will not be allowed to vote. The board will not suspend voting rights for any other reason. Meeting notice. The association will email the notice of the annual meeting not less than 10 days nor more than 50 days prior to the date of the annual meeting. The management is authorized to and will work with the board in order to draft the notice and prepare electronic ballots. Electronic voting. Management will delegate a point of contact known as a POC to work with the electronic voting company. Members will be allowed to vote via electronic voting or paper ballot as an exception. Electronic voting will be open to the members no more than 14 days, ending at 4 p.m. Arizona time on the Friday before the annual meeting. All paper ballots must be submitted to management by 12 p.m. Arizona time, noon, on the Friday before the annual meeting in order to be counted. Paper ballots shall be irrevocable and shall expire immediately upon the completion of the election for which they are specified. When electronic voting is used, a member inputting the electronic code constitutes a signature. This is by state statute. Ballot counting. The POC and management will be responsible for monitoring the electronic voting process and paper ballot counting. The POC management may elect to have a counting committee should it deem necessary. Duplicate votes. If the association receives 2 or more votes from the same lot, all of the votes will be deemed void and none of the votes will count. Results. Management will notify the board president of the results of the election by 5 p.m. Arizona time on the Friday before the annual meeting. Management will then notify the candidates of the results. Notification to the members of the association will be posted on Monday before the annual meeting. There you go.
Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the residents? Brad? Stephanie, excuse me.
You indicated in the reading that one of the announcements would be sent out via mail/email. Will we be using both? I'm sorry, Kathy Stark, 1405. Will we be using both means of communicating with everyone, or will there be limited mailings? Because I did read about the issue with mailings going to incorrect addresses.
Currently, the postings can be done electronically and through Neighbor. Of course, we're hoping to convert to Front Steps in the near future. So in the future, Front Steps will do it electronically by email, by texting. We can talk as a board. Do we wish to, we can do a notification by postcards. I mean, that we have some flexibility on that. We ask that the owners make sure that they have the appropriate addresses registered with the office so that we don't have a concern about wrong addresses.
Well, I'd like to see a definitive, because I don't want to see us wasting money mailing postcards to somebody who's in this building at this point in time, because that's a waste of resources.
Yeah, we agree. So we have one. Let me just reread this. Go ahead. Annual meeting. So the annual meeting can be done in postcard, which is what we're talking about. That's on the annual meeting, not on the notification of board candidates.
Okay. All right. All right. It's on the annual meeting, not on the board. Yeah. Okay. Although, all those in favor?
So currently, to address your concern, currently everything is sent by mail. So we have a lot of paper that is sent out by mail notifying about the annual meeting. So we're hoping to cut that cost by using a postcard instead. But we are allowed to, by state law, do it by email as well. We understand there may be some complications with email initially, the first year, maybe even the second year. So we will attempt to do this by postcard as well as email. And I hope that addresses your question.
Okay. Call for the vote. All those in favor?
We have another question.
Diane Lake, Lot 405. I'd like just a clarification of something. Basically, you said each owner has one vote, which is absolutely correct. That's the correct way to do it. However, we not only have an aging America, we have an aging community right here. And I'd like to think that there might be a chance that an elderly person turns their vote in and then forgets they did and turn it in again. And you said that if that happens without any clarification, you're going to void all of their votes. That does not seem very fair.
That is the way it has been currently and always has been. If both of you vote, it nulls both your votes. It always has been that way. It's always been one vote per lot. I know, but if both of you voted, it nulled it.
If somebody votes twice, it will still null it, and that's the way it's done currently as well.
Okay, I'm not talking about two people on a lot voting. I'm talking about an owner who votes. That they may be elderly, they may be suffering from dementia, they may forget they voted. So they should still have a vote. And if it's the way it's always been, well, sometimes things change and should be changed.
Well, hopefully the electronic voting will help that. It'll take the first one and that's it. Yeah, it'll take the very first vote and it won't take the second one. Okay, are we done? There's one more.
There's a question on the chat. It says, does this mean a person who needs an exception to an electronic voting must request this each time there is a vote?
Correct.
Mary Jo Methune, 1621. If a person owns 3-4 houses, do they get 4 votes rather than that person getting the 1 vote?
Yes, there is one. This is by state law. This is nothing new. This is the same thing. Every owner of a lot gets a vote. If you own 1 lot, you get 1 vote. If you own 4 lots, you get 4 votes. Some like to split it between their spouse and themselves so they feel equal.
Okay, dangerous, but that's the law.
Okay, it's time to call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried. My goodness.
We have another question.
Yeah, and that's not up for. Okay, yes, sir, let me, go ahead, state your question.
Okay, so my question, Steve Bright, 741. My question was that if members are currently out of the area, do they still have access to electronic voting to cast their vote?
Yes, and even though that's not what this was just policy on the collection for candidates and how the process would go through. Absolutely, that was the whole point. So we don't have a misamount of ballots or paper being sent out to people with wrong addresses. If you're on vacation, it follows you because it comes electronically. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to have electronic voting training coming up soon. So all of these questions about electronic training you'll have an opportunity to ask them in the future. Okay, moving on to new business.
I have a question, Marie. Becky Wells, lot 2250. All of the information that Roberta gave is not on any paperwork that we have received. Can we get a copy of that?
The policy will be posted, right? Once it's been approved.
Once it's signed and approved, it will be posted on Neighbor.
Okay, new business. I have a motion, Jennifer.
I move to approve the HT Hot Shots request for the sawmill to build a wood frame with acrylic sliders to cover photo exhibits in the mail center at a cost not to exceed $200.
Do I have a second? Any questions or comments from the board?
What precipitated this request?
So someone from Hot Shots was going to speak to, thank you.
Will, you want to come up and share some information on that?
Hello, I'm Will McNamee, lot 1674. The reason we requested this is because the photos that we have up there and you post up there for your elections occasionally either fall down or are taken down. This is a plexiglass frame that'll cover that area and protect it, keep them happening again. It's a minimum cost of $200. We're asking you to share that.
For those that may not have heard, Mr. Will, it is a process by which to protect the photos from either falling off of the system or being taken. Some of those photos have been taken, not so much of the board members, but of the flowers and stuff that they take pictures of. So it's a protective device to keep the photos in one location. Okay.
Any comments or questions from the floor? Okay. All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. It's money.
Let's be consistent. Okay, roll call vote. Roberta Ernest,
Yes.
Marilyn Sorensen,
Yes.
Becca Paulson,
Yes.
Steve Deal, Jennifer Ellswick,
Yes.
Cindy Evans,
Yes.
and Marie Beshin.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay, next new business, monthly assessment payment. Becca?
I move to approve the Finance Committee's request that the monthly assessment payment amounts for the 24-25 year be extended for May and June 2025 to accommodate the 2-month change in the Happy Trails fiscal year.
Second.
Do I have a second? Oh, Jennifer, all right. You want to expand on that?
Sure. We have approved a change in our fiscal year from, it currently is May 1 through April 30. We are going to change it to July 1 through June 30, moving it back 2 months. This is to accommodate a lot of committee work, putting the budget together, various and sundry other items, but what we've decided to do, or to ask the board for the Finance Committee, is to just extend current payments. Don't go through the entire budget process yet. Extend the current payments that we all pay for the 2 months, May and June, until our next fiscal year. Beginning the first of the year, we will put together a budget for July 1 through June 30, and then adjust the payments accordingly.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the floor? Stephanie?
Lily Atkinson, lot 1716. I thought this was up for, as part of the CCNRs. Why are you bringing
Not
it
the
up?
change in fiscal year. What's for the CCNRs is to move our annual meeting. It was already approved to move the fiscal year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried. Okay, we are going to start the reading of the CCNRs. I do ask that you allow, it'll be read between Roberta and Jennifer. And I do ask you to allow them to read each of the CCNRs without interruption. We are going to have a question and answer actually twice. First, next week, the We're Listening is strictly of questions and answers, and we will be going through them one by one. We'll read the CC&R, each one, and we'll answer every question, every comment, everything that you have to ask about each one of those CC&Rs next week in detail, going through each one of them next week. We want to do this because we want to give you a week to look at them, to read them, to digest them in its entirety, so that you have that week to do that, to take them home and read them and spend some time with them. Today's not the day to do that. So take that time, do that, come back next week, let us go through each one of them and answer every single question you can possibly think of to go through them one by one. And if you can't make next week, or you have more questions after next week, we'll have another opportunity to do that again. So we'll go through them this month, we'll go through them again next month, and we'll make sure that we answer every single question that you could possibly have on these CC&Rs. I also want to share with you, I know that there's been lots of comments and lots of questions and things out there in the field about where we came up with these changes and stuff. And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. We're residents just like your residents. We've been listening to long-range planning. We've been listening to conversations. We've been listening to focus groups, and we've been working on this for months and months. And these changes came from residents. They didn't come out of our pocket. They didn't come out of our own head. They came out from all of these various comments and input from all of you. So this is where they came from. We made changes. We listened to you. We heard that you did not want to raise the 6%, so we took it out of there. So it is not in the CC&Rs. That's our job. So we listened, we made some changes. We knew that there was some of the description in here that was confusing. We did our best to unconfuse it. So this is the new draft, and this is the first reading. Here we go.
Okay, I will start it off. Bylaw and CCR proposed changes. All administrative grammar, spelling, renumbering, and state statute requirements will automatically be updated upon completion. What that means is renumbering. I think that's pretty simple. If one passes and the other doesn't, it changes the numbering. Those will be automatically installed once we know which have passed and which have not passed. Grammar, obviously, commas, semicolons, things of that nature. Spelling, if it's 2 T's on an it as opposed to 1 T, those type of things. We've searched it many times, but sometimes that gets past you. The state statute requirements, as Marie said, we removed the one where we were trying to align with state statute on the 20%. That's been removed. It's off. We're not voting on that. Things like when you talk about automatic requirements, as in the first part of the CC&R bylaws always state this second amendment voted on such and such recorded on this date. That will automatically be changed to third amendment voted on this date, recorded on this date. That's what we mean by that. All right, first one, Article 2, Section 2, meetings. Let me get my paper. Okay. We are it is currently stating, meetings of owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other convenient place as may be designated by the board of directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the third Tuesday in February in each year, beginning at 7 p.m. or at such time as the board may select in its own discretion. The proposed change is meetings of owners shall be held at the principal place of business of the corporation or at such other place as may be designated by the board of directors. Annual meetings of the owners shall be held on the third Tuesday in April in each year, beginning at 1 p.m. or at such other time as the board may select at its own discretion. The annual meeting agenda only includes approval of prior year minutes, President's annual report, Treasurer's annual report, and formal introduction of board directors for the next fiscal year. No other business is conducted. Special meetings of the owners may be called by the president or by the majority of the directors or by owners having at least 2/5 of the votes entitled to be cast at such meeting. The notice of any special meeting shall state the time and place of such meeting and the purpose thereof. This note aligns with the new fiscal year. The association's fiscal year end has changed from April to June 1st. So the annual meeting is being moved back 2 months to put it in alignment with the fiscal year.
Article 3, Section 2, qualification of candidates seeking election to the board. This is an addition. We're not changing from anything. To add, in order to be eligible for election to the board, candidates must be members of the association, and each candidate must have been a member of the association for at least 1 year before being eligible to run for election. In addition, each candidate must be in good standing with the association, which means the candidate must not have any open violations of the association's governing documents on his/her account and must not be delinquent in any amounts due to the association. This is a new section in the bylaws. It provides requirements for board candidates.
Article 3, Section 3, Director Qualifications. From, each director shall be an owner or the spouse of an owner, or if an owner is a corporation, partnership, or trust, a director may be an officer, partner, or beneficiary of such owner. If a director shall cease to meet the such qualifications during his term, he will thereupon cease to be a director, and his place on the board shall be deemed vacant. The proposed change is each director shall be an owner of, or the spouse of an owner, or if an owner is a corporation, partnership, or trust, a director may be an officer, partner, or beneficiary of such owner. Directors must be and remain in good standing with the association. If a director shall cease to meet such qualifications during his or her term, he will thereupon cease to be a director, and his place on the board shall be deemed vacant. This provides an updated requirement for the board of directors.
That concludes the changes to the proposed changes to the bylaws. We are now moving on to covenants, conditions, and restriction proposed changes. Overall changes throughout the document. We are making certain changes, and they will go throughout the entire CC&Rs. And I want everybody to understand that that's what this particular page is all about. We're going to change from resident vehicle to manufactured HUD and recreational vehicle. And 1.19, the proposed add is manufactured home. From manufactured HUD home means those vehicles, residences, including but not limited to recreational vehicles, double wides, snuggle wides, park models, and mobile homes. Proposed change. 2, manufactured home means all manufactured homes, such as villas, snuggle wide homes, and single and double wide homes. These homes may have an affidavit of a fixture. 1.3, proposed to remove resident vehicle. 1.31, proposed add recreational vehicle. 1.31, recreational vehicle. From recreational vehicle means a vehicular type unit primarily designated as temporary living quarters for recreational, camping, or travel use, which is not designated for permanent residence or commercial purposes and is more fully defined in the rules and regulations of the association. Proposed change 2, recreational vehicle means a recreational vehicle, RV, that is either towed behind or motorized that includes living quarters designated for accommodation and has a vehicle identification number, VIN. It can be used for recreation, camping, or travel use. Types of RVs include motorhomes, camper vans, fifth wheels, travel trailers, park models, etc. This more clearly defines throughout the entire CCNR's manufactured home and recreational vehicle RV.
Section 3, Association. Funds of the association. From funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally insured financial institutions in fully insured accounts. The proposed change. Funds of the association from any source other than small amounts for petty cash or similar purposes shall be kept on deposit in federally insured financial institutions in fully insured accounts with the option of no more than 25% of excess funds to be invested in other guaranteed and or secured investment vehicles such as treasuries, bonds, annuities. The alternate investment vehicles would only be used when normal federally insured investments offer little or no return on investment. The examples given have guaranteed return rates but are not FDIC insured. This change gives the board some flexibility when normal CD and savings interest rates are very low.
Section 5, Assessments. 5.1, Creation of Lien and Personal Obligation. From each owner by acceptance of a deed or other covenants of interest in a lot or by acceptance of his membership is deemed to covenant and agree to pay to the association regular assessments, special assessments, pass-through assessments, capital improvement assessments, and reconstruction assessments, if applicable. Such assessments to be established and collected from time to time as provided in this declaration. The assessments, together with interest thereon, late charges, attorney's fees, and court costs, and other costs of collection thereof, as hereinafter provided, shall be a continuing lien upon such owner's lot, but not against any residence vehicle located thereon, against which the assessments are made. Each assessment, together with such interest and other costs, shall also be the personal obligation of the owner to whom such assessment relates. The personal obligation for delinquent payments shall not pass to an owner's successor unless expressly assumed by him. The obligation of all persons who collectively are the owners of the lot to which such assessment relates for the payment of assessment shall be joint and several. Proposed 2. Each owner, by acceptance of a deed or other covenants of an interest in a lot, or by acceptance of his membership, is deemed to covenant and agree to pay to the association regular assessments, special assessments, pass-through assessments, capital improvement assessments, and reconstruction assessments, if applicable. Such assessments to be established and collected from time to time as provided in this declaration. The assessments, together with interest thereon, late charges, attorney's fees, and court costs, and other costs of collection thereof, as hereinafter provided, shall be a continuing lien upon such owner's lot, but not against any recreational vehicle or manufactured home without an affidavit of a fixture located thereon, against which the assessments are made. Each assessment, together with such interest and other costs, shall also be the personal obligation of the owner to whom such assessment relates. The personal obligation for delinquent payments shall not pass to an owner's successor unless expressly assumed by him. The obligation of all persons who collectively are the owner of the lot to which such assessment relates for the payment of assessment shall be joint and several. This was changed to reflect the change from resident vehicle to recreational vehicle or manufactured home and defines what is covered. So in all of this reading, there is really only a slight change in definition of the vehicle.
Purpose of assessments. From, the assessments levied by the association shall be used to promote the recreation, health, safety, and welfare of the owners, to enhance the quality of life within the property, to preserve the value of the property, to pay the costs of administration of the association and all common expenses, to cover the cost of mail sorting, pickup, and delivery service to lot owners and occupants, or to otherwise further their interest of the association. Where a lot has separate gas, electrical, sewer, or or other similar utility service, the cost of the same shall be the personal obligation of each owner and shall not be included in the regular assessment. Instead, cost incurred by the association in providing stormwater and sewer services to a lot shall be levied as pass-through assessments pursuant to section 5.5 below. Maintenance of sewer lines serving a single lot shall be the responsibility of the owner owning such lot. The proposed change. The assessments levied by the association shall be used to promote the recreation, health, safety, and welfare of the owners, to enhance the quality of the life within the property, to preserve the value of the property, to pay the cost of the administration of the association and all common expenses, or to otherwise further the interest of the association. Where a lot has separate gas, electrical, sewer, or other similar utility service, the cost of the same shall be the personal obligation of each owner and shall not be included in the regular assessments. Maintenance of sewer lines serving a single lot shall be the responsibility of the owner owning such lot. This removes to cover the cost of mail sorting, pickup, and delivery services, which are included in common expenses and do not need to be listed separately. Removes requirement to charge a pass-through assessment for stormwater and sewer services. These charges will become part of the regular assessment.
5.5, pass-through assessments. From, pass-through assessment shall be levied by the association against an owner and his lot to reimburse the association for costs incurred by the association. Pass-through assessments include costs incurred by the association in providing stormwater and sewer services to the owner's lot and may include such other charges that meet the criteria as stated in section 1.4.5 pass-through assessments. Proposed change to pass-through assessment shall be levied by the association against an owner and his lot to reimburse the association for costs incurred by the association in providing services to the owner's lot and may include other such charges that the board, in its discretion, determines should be categorized as pass-through assessments, including but not limited to costs that meet the criteria set forth in section 1.45.5 pass-through assessments. Note, removes requirement for storm, water, and sewer costs to be levied as pass-through assessments. No new pass-through assessments are being considered.
9.1, owner's responsibility. From, each owner shall furnish and be responsible for, at his own expense, all of the maintenance, repairs, and replacements within his own lot, including without limitation any landscaping and residence vehicle, Arizona room, or villa thereon, necessary or appropriate to keep his lot and any improvements thereto or thereon in good condition, and repair in a pleasing appearance consistent with the requirements thereof and of the design guidelines. Any residence vehicle or recreational vehicle placed on a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in roadworthy, like new condition. Any Arizona room or villa located upon a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in thoroughly excellent, like new condition. The proposed change is each owner shall furnish and be responsible for, at his own expense, all of the maintenance, repairs, and replacements within his own lot, including without limitation, any landscaping and recreational vehicle, Arizona room, or manufactured home thereon, necessary or appropriate to keep his lot and any improvements thereto or thereon in good condition, and repair and in pleasing appearance consistent with the requirements hereof and of the design guidelines. Any manufactured home or recreational vehicle placed on a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in like new and roadworthy condition, motorized vehicles. Any Arizona room located upon a lot shall be maintained by the owner of such lot in thoroughly excellent, like new condition. Replaces residence vehicle with new definitions for housing units, recreational vehicle, and manufactured home, and provides insight to roadworthy.
Section 10, Architectural and Landscape Control. 10.1, Appointment of Design Review Committee. From, the association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3 nor more than 5 persons, as specified from time to time in the design guidelines by resolution of the board. Members of the design review committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the design review committee must be owners or satisfy such other requirements as may be set forth in the design guidelines. Proposed 2. The association shall have a design review committee consisting of not less than 3, not more than 7 persons, as specified from time to time in the design guidelines by resolution of the board. Members of the design review committee shall be appointed by the board. Persons appointed to the design review committee must be owners or satisfy such other requirements as may be set forth in the design guidelines. The board of directors liaison will be the chairman and a voting member of the design review committee per Arizona State Statute 33-1817B, Section 1. Note, aligns number of committee members with all other committees within the association. Explains the requirement of the Board of Directors liaison to be the chairman of the committee per Arizona State Statute.
Section 11, Use and Occupancy Restrictions. 11-9, Vehicles. From, no boats or trailers shall be parked or stored on the property except in designated storage areas and temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading or unloading as provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on the property by anyone other than a properly licensed operator, and any such vehicle must satisfy in all respects the requirements of governmental authorities for operation on public streets. Any golf cart to be operated by any owner, guest, or occupant on the property must be electric. Proposed change 2. No boats or trailers shall be parked or stored on the property except in designated storage areas and temporarily on private roads for egress and ingress and for loading or unloading as provided in association rules. No motor vehicles, including without limitation motorbikes and cycles, may be operated on the property by anyone other than a properly licensed operator, and any such vehicle must satisfy in all respects the requirements of governmental authorities for operation on public streets. Golf carts may only be operated by licensed driver. Motor-driven bikes and cycles may only be operated by adults in accordance with all applicable laws and ordinances, and must be appropriately lighted if operated at night. Allows for street-legal golf carts and states the requirements for a licensed driver per state statute.
11.10, parking. From, no resident vehicles or other vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including oil changes or engine repairs, on any lot or upon the common areas, and no vehicle of any type shall be parked on the private streets or in any portion of the common areas except in such parking areas as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner thereof in any manner consistent with applicable law. Recreational vehicles and other vehicles may be parked temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading or unloading as provided in the association rules. One or more storage areas for recreational vehicles, boats, and motor vehicles may be made available on or in the vicinity of the property by developer, declarant, and/or the association at reasonable cost to owners. No more than one recreational vehicle may be parked on a lot at any time. Proposed 2. No vehicle of any type shall be repaired or rebuilt, including oil changes or engine repairs, on any lot or upon the common areas, and no vehicle of any type shall be parked on the private streets or any portion of the common areas except in such parking areas as may be designated by the association. The association may remove or cause to be removed any unauthorized vehicle at the expense of the owner thereof and in any manner consistent with applicable law. Recreational vehicles and other vehicles may be parked temporarily on private roads for ingress and egress and for loading or unloading as provided in the association rules. One or more storage areas for recreational vehicles, boats, and motor vehicles may be made available on or in the vicinity of the property by developer, declarant, and/or the association at reasonable cost to the owners. No more than one recreational vehicle may be parked on a lot at any time. Clarifies the language specifying no vehicle maintenance is allowed.
11-13, trash containers and collection, proper maintenance. From, no garbage or trash shall be placed or kept on any lot except in below-ground covered containers of type, size, and style, which are approved in writing by the board or authorized by the association rules. The board shall have the right in its sole discretion to require all owners to subscribe to a trash service in the event the cost of such service may be billed to the association as a common expense or separately to lot owners as the board deems most efficient or desirable. Each owner shall be responsible for removal of all rubbish, trash, or garbage from its lot,
Hello?
and such shall not be allowed to accumulate
Let
thereon.
me turn this
No
down.
incinerator shall be operated, kept, or maintained on any
Okay.
portion of the property without the prior written approval of the board. The proposed change to
Yes, I think
no garbage or
so.
trash shall be placed
Oh, I see where
any
she would have a list.
around covered containers of a type, size, and style, which are approved in writing by
You
the
know what?
board,
I'll give her an
authorized
Amazon
by
gift
the
card.
association rules. Each
Okay.
owner shall be responsible for maintaining their in-ground container and keeping their
I
lot
got
free
to
of
thinking
debris.
maybe
No
Something like
incinerator shall be operated, kept, or
a
maintained on
restaurant
any
gift card,
portion
the
of the
Amazon card.
property
I'll do the Amazon
without
card.
the prior written approval of the board. Note, clarifies language with regard to using a common trash service for all owners.
I might have lost something.
11.15, safe conditions. Without limiting any other provisions in this section, each owner shall maintain and keep his lot at all times in a safe, sound, and sanitary condition and repair, and shall correct any condition or refrain from any activity which might interfere with the reasonable enjoyment by other owners of their respective lots or the common areas. Generators may only be used in limited circumstances as provided in the association rules when electric current is not otherwise available to a lot. No firearms may ever be displayed on any portion of the property by other than authorized security personnel. Proposed 2, without limiting any other provision in this section, each owner shall maintain and keep his lot at all times in a safe, sound, and sanitary condition and repair, and shall correct any condition or refrain from any activity which might interfere with the reasonable enjoyment by the other owners of their respective lots or the common areas. Generators may only be used in limited circumstances as provided in the association rules when electric current is not otherwise available to a lot. No firearms shall be displayed on common areas or association buildings by anyone other than authorized security personnel unless given an authorized waiver by the board of directors. Note, provide stronger, more specific requirements for firearms within the common areas or association buildings. Thank you for your attention and
I have one
listening to
more.
us read.
I have one more. I'm sorry, Jennifer. We have one more. We do not believe this will actually go to vote because it is actually a state statute, but we agreed to go ahead and read it in case there's any issues. We don't want to slow this up and have to do it again. Article 2, Section 4, notice. Notice of all meetings of the owner stating the time, the place, and the objects for which the meeting is called shall be given by the president, vice president, or secretary, unless notice is waived in writing. Such notice must be in writing and addressed to each owner entitled to vote at such meeting as his address as it appears on the books of the corporation, or if no such address appears, at his last known address, and shall be mailed not less than 10 days, no more than 50 days prior to the date of the meeting. Notice of meetings may be waived before, during, or after the meeting. Proposed change. 2, notice of all meetings of the owner stating the time, the place, and the objects for which the meeting is called shall be given by the president, the vice president, or secretary unless notice is waived in writing and or email. Such notice must be in writing and or email and addressed to each owner entitled to vote at such meeting at his address or email as it appears on the books of the corporation, or if no such address appears, at his last known address, and shall be mailed and or emailed not less than 10 days, no more than 50 days prior to the date of the meeting. Notice of meetings may be waived before, during, or after the meeting. This complies with Arizona State Statute 33-1804 and provides for updating to include electronic email distribution. Again, we do not think this one will go for a vote. We read it just to make sure that we're good. We'll run some checks on it. That's all I have right now. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, that is the CCNR rating. Yeah, I believe they're already posted on Neighbor. We do have paper copies for you if you need.
don't think it's going to go forward as a vote. It is. Sorry. Let us talk about it and finish out, but I do not feel this is going to go for a vote. It is a state statute change and requirement, but I read it just to make sure that we were covered. Article 2, Section 2, meetings. It's a bylaw. You're welcome. Disregard. Try it again. Article 2, Section 4, notice. It is a bylaw.
Okay, that concludes the meeting, and the only thing I have to say on the president's message is I wish everybody a wonderful holiday time with your friends and your family. Have joyous time and safe. Do you have anything, Darlene?
I just want to say Merry Christmas to all of you. Merry Christmas, Mele Kalikimaka, Feliz Navidad, Happy Kwanzaa. If anything I forgot, I'm sorry, but I wish you all a happy holidays, and we will see you around the community. Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.